You can see the screen now.
Yes.
Well, okay, guys. So here we are. Participants can see. Okay, here we are for the business case. Accident and ill health cost money. Cost maybe the money. What happened if an accident happened? There are two type of cost: direct and indirect. Direct cost, which exactly happened because of the incident, maybe some plant burned, some plant damaged, broken, something. Indirect cost, the consequences. What happened? It will go wrong. It will go long, like incident investigation cost, replacement cost. If one person or one employee or one plant get damaged or one person get injured, we need to sorry. So we need to bring another employee, we need to bring another plant, we need to bring other equipment. So in that way, it will become more cost indirect and indirect costs indirect cost. The insurance payment, the compensation payment, the claims, the police case, the court orders, the court fine, the health and safety authorities, local and international, they can put fine on you. Even 2 weeks before, in the UK, there's I was reading previously uh, from from IOSH, I was reading that there is a 2 billion fine they give to an organization because of health and safety only. $2 billion. So in these countries, I'm not sure about the figures, but I just read it in a article from IOSH in their email. They are sending me some documents or some news we are receiving from the IOSH. Okay, guys. So these are the cost which we are facing, and let's see. We are going to discuss the business this cost and the accidents again in detail. So group discussion: an employee has been injured at work. Identify potential direct cost and indirect cost of the incident, and then indirect cost of the accident. Yes, Adnan. Adnan, open your mic. You can talk if you want something.
So kindly repeat direct and indirect cost.
Okay, I will. Sure, sure. This is important thing. I will repeat it for you, no problem. Guys, when an accident happened, there are two types of cost are being faced by the organization, by the employer. One is direct and one is indirect. Here, what you can see on your screen, one is direct, measurable cost arising directly from the accident. What is measurable cost? The exact what happened, the plant burned, that is a measurable cost. The insurance claim you pay, that is a measurable cost. The police case you are going to face, after finishing the case, you can find that these all are the cost you being faced, or this is a fine, this is a punishment, or whatever. These all are the measurable cost and known as direct cost. And indirect, morale of the employees. When an accident happens, suppose one employee get died at workplace, maybe tomorrow no one want to go upstairs, no one want to go on the scaffolding to perform a job. People get afraid, they get scared from the workplace, and then the reputation of the organization, and then the stakeholders. Suppose I'll give you an example. There is an organization X going and performing the job very well, and the share rate, their value, as it's mentioned by the share rate, are going increased but day by day. But suddenly one accident happens. Just an example. This year, in the beginning of 2021, there is accident, a fire accident happened in Lebanon on the port. Big loss, a big loss. You can say the whole city faced the impact of that fire. So what happened later on? Everything gone. What is the damage to infrastructure and all these things? That's direct cost. And what damage it further, that the stakeholders, they take their money back. The people are not ready to invest. The people are not ready to work there. The morale of the employees go down. They are facing problem to hire new people for the same job. This is indirect cost, and this is the consequences also. You cannot directly measure that one. Is it clear now?
Yes.
Okay. In anything, if again it's not clear, I'm here to repeat, and I will do my best efforts to make it everything clear for you guys. This is my duty. Okay, yeah, here we have a group exercise. So what I am expecting from you, an accident happened, one person, so I'm giving you the more clear scenario. One person walking downstairs, while walking, he fell down. He got injured. So suppose that he got leg injury. So just you guys need to think by your own and send me in WhatsApp group message or send me in personal what is the direct cost and what is the indirect cost of the accident. So this is your task for today. So just before tomorrow's session, I am expecting from everyone to send to me what is the direct and indirect cost. The benefit, I can explain it very clearly. In 2 minutes, I can. But the more clear thing is, it will help you guys to understand. It will enhance your knowledge about this. Direct cost, the answer is there, but I'm not expecting the same from you. Just do the same answer, but change your words, think, and you can add something in this one. What is the direct cost? First aid treatment, sick pay, lost production time, fines and the compensations. Fine from the criminal code, compensation paid to the victim, to the injured persons, which is likely to be met by the insurance cover, and these all are the direct costs. And then the indirect cost, last time of investigation. They need to investigate why it happens, who is the responsible, what are the direct cause, what are the root cause, what are the indirect cause. These all are the indirect cause, loss of morale and damaged worker relationship. Cost of recruitmental of the replacement, or they will hire a new replacement. Lost reputation. These are the indirect cost. They are not exact in the shape of money, but it affects more in shape of money. So these are the different, but I am expecting you to give me some answers from this. It doesn't mean I'm not expecting 100% from you that you will give exactly correct. You cannot. But I am expecting you at least 50% of you can write something good in this case. Okay.
Sir, I have a question, please, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, the third point is fines and compensation. Since it's the employee of the company and is falling on the stair, and how we can fit this third point, fines and compensation?
Just a moment. Let's go back to the scene. So third point, again, please, Zahir.
Sir, I have a point that this person is the employee of any company, and
Yeah.
it's falling on a stair, and it's get some medical injury. Ultimately, it's loss of production time.
Mm-mm-mm.
And according to my views, there is also loss of property, maybe he picking up some files and other things. But
Okay.
according to me, how we can justify here fines and compensation?
Yes, fines and compensation, both are different items. The fines are imposed to organization or maybe to the personals who are responsible, and the compensation is to the employee. I am in UAE, you are in Saudi Arabia, right? In UAE, if
Yes.
your leg get broken, you will get some amount from the organization. You have the right to take. The employer
Right.
or you by personnel, you are paying sum of amount every year to the insurance, whatever, $100, $200, it was an agreed amount. And in that agreed amount, you are receiving some amount of benefits. Like another example of this, the vehicle insurance. My car is get insured by an organization, by a third party, right?
Right.
So after that, what will happen? Guys, okay, yeah, after, in case I meet an accident, someone did a mistake, they hit my car from the back. So what I will get? I will get compensation from insurance, right?
Right, sir.
This is the same happening here. If a person is get injured or get his body part, he lost his leg, his arm, his hand, his ear, or whatever type of injury, he will get the compensation according to his insurance policy.
Sir, actually, I have a point that fines and compensation are two different opposite to each other.
Yes.
With respect to compensation, of course, the this person is get damage, and ultimately he will insurance. He will get some money from the insurance company. But here fines, who will impose it on company or this person?
Of course, on the company, not on the persons. Yeah,
Right, sir.
we
Sir.
yeah, Zahir, let me go back for a while. We discuss about the impact, that there is an impact on injured person impact on organization, and impact on line manager.
Okay, sir, I'm getting your point. It's okay, sir.
No,
It's
if
okay.
you have any doubt, we are here to clear, no
No,
problem.
it's okay, sir. It's clear now, sir. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
okay, okay. So this meeting is being recorded, right?
Right, sir.
Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, so these are the type of accident cause which we are discussing before. Let me do the next slide. Okay, insured cost and insured cost. Yeah, some cost which are insured like fire, workers, injury, death, medical cost. These are being paid by the insurance organizations. They are responsible, and uninsured loss of free raw material due to accidents, sick pay, overtime, equipment repair, lost material. These are being paid by the organizations. This is the just a scenario, and it can be differ in some organization or in some regions. Okay, what are the three main reasons for maintaining health and safety? We already have heard about that: moral, legal, and financial reasons or economic reasons. And what should an employer provide to ensure health and safety? Safe place of work, safe plant and equipment, safe system of work, training, supervision, and competency of the staff. This is the responsibility of the employees. Okay, role of national government and international bodies. Guys, what is the role of international, local, and international authorities or the international implementation bodies on health and safety? Just please hold on for a moment. Okay, here we are going to discuss the roles of national government and international bodies. International Labour Organization, ILO. Guys, keep it in your mind. Put it on the notebook, place it in your table, in your desk, or in your bedroom table. Just role of national and international bodies, International Labour Organization. What is ILO? Keep it in your mind. It's important. You need to be familiar with that. Okay, it's an agency of United Nations. Most countries are member of this agency. Sets international. Just a moment. Let me admit. Okay, most of the organization or the countries are the member of this, and whoever is the member, the standards are implemented on that. Suppose if Pakistan is a member of ILO, whatever the standards are being implemented or being set by ILO, our employers, the organizations in the Pakistan, they are responsible to follow that without any hesitation, without any other explanation. Sets international standards for health and safety by publishing. So they are setting the health and safety standards and they are publishing it worldwide. And they are doing the conventions, they are giving the recommendations. ILOC 155 you are going to hear, and also the recommendations you are going to read in the next slide. The international framework create.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, please, I have a question here. We also know that ISO is also International Organization of Standardization. Why they not implemented or attached with these standards? Because these are also very important.
Okay, there is a difference. ISO and ILO is a difference. ISO is not a mandatory. ILO is mandatory. Why? ILO is an organization set and being agreed by the countries. And ISO is a standard for promoting your health and safety. No doubt we are following their standards. In organizations, the good organizations, they are taking care of their employees. They are thinking that the employees are asset and they give enough priority to health and safety. They are following ISO standards. Most of us, we are following ISO 45000, QMS, IMS, EMS. We are following ISO standards. But ISO standards are not the standards mandatory. But the standards set by ILO, you can see that these are the minimum standards which everyone have to follow who is the member of ILO. Like I give you another example. You are employer. You are working in Saudi Arabia, you are working under
Yes.
Aramco. Suppose you are a
Right.
contractor, you are working under Aramco. Aramco have some set standards. You have to follow that. You cannot go
Right.
away from that. And in addition to that, maybe you set your own some standards which
Right,
cannot
sir.
be contrary to Aramco. You cannot be contrary to Aramco. You can implement more. Like they ask you to provide one first aider on each 50 employees, but internally you can provide one first aider on every 25 employees, right?
Right.
The same is here. We have to follow the ILO standards because it's agreed by the countries worldwide. The ISO standards
Right.
can be differ.
Yani simple ISO is promoting the health and safety
Health and
regarding,
safety,
but
exactly.
but ILO is a minimum standard of
The minimum
that is
standard,
implemented.
yeah, minimum
Yes.
standards which need to be followed on
Yes.
the workplace.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good question you have raised. I appreciate.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
The international framework create binding obligations or policies to implement their provisions. No legal authority unless ratified by the members state into its own legal structure. And this is the conventions. Two part. The first two items are the convention. The third is recommendation. Provide guidance on policy, legislation, and practice. ILO conventions are similar in scope to UK Act of Parliament and are very general in nature. And the recommendations give more details about that factor, about that standard, or about that code of practice under the UK legal system. So examples of regulatory international framework, regulations adopted by the International Labour Organizations, ILO, Occupational Safety and Health C155. Just keep it clear with you, C155. Keep it remind, we are going to discuss it many times. And then Occupational Safety and Health Recommendations, 1981, R164. R means recommendation 164, C means convention 155. And supplement C155 and give more guidance on how to comply with its policies. We will talk about this during the course. It's going to be repeated many times. Okay, but these will be covered in more detail later in the element. But the adoption, the legal aspect of the entire course, there is no need to explain what they are at this point, but I just advise you to keep it in your mind, and we are going to repeat it. So write down, you can search it in Google, you can find it in your slides, but keep it with you because this is important. And it can be, and it will be repeated again. So now we are going to talk about employer's responsibility under Article 16 of C155. Convention 155, Article 16 identifies the obligations placed on employers to ensure that workplace, machinery, equipment, and work process are safe and without risk to health. And moving forward, ensure that chemical, physical, and biological substances and agents are without risk to health and safety, and to health when protective measures have been taken. Just a moment. Please hold on, guys. Sorry, guys, I have a call. Okay, so now we are talking about and the other responsibility, provide adequate protective clothing and equipment to prevent risk of accident or adverse health effects. These are the responsibilities which are identified in Article 16 of Convention 155, that these are the responsibilities of the employer. And moving forward, what else we have? And we have other set of responsibilities. like Article 10 of Recommendation 164, provide and maintain workplace machinery and equipment and use working method that are safe, give necessary instructions, training, supervision, application and use of health and safety measures, introduce organizational arrangements relevant to activities and size of the undertaking, provide PPEs, personal protective equipment, including head protection, foot protection, hand protection, and the high visibility vest, and then ensure the provision of welfare facilities like changing room, and drinking water stations, adequate
Recreation.
facility of resting, eating area, and then regular work breaks. These all are the responsibility of the employer, which he have to provide to his employees at the workplace. We are going to discuss this one again also. So here we have regulatory framework. ILO has published conventions associated with specific hazard C115, radiation protection 1960, C162, asbestos 1986, and then C167, H&S in construction. This is mostly implemented in construction, C167. So you can go through, you can download it on from Google, and you can go through by this. It's not big, difficult. It's easy to understand in a very normal language they have provided, and it's published worldwide. And what employers must provide: safe workplace of work, safe plant and equipment, safe system of work, and training and supervision to ensure the competency. This we already discussed. So what is competency? You need to understand a word KATE, Kate. Most of you have seen the movie Titanic. So there is a lady that's named Kate. So keep the Kate in your mind, then you will not forget the competence. Competency is a combination of four elements. The one is knowledge, knowledge about the task, knowledge about the specific work. Suppose I'm going to do a lamination work in a 10-meter deep GRP manhole. So I need to have knowledge about that. If I have knowledge about that lamination work, it will be considered as knowledge. Suppose I have a knowledge about computer software and I'm going to implement a lamination, so it cannot be considered as a knowledge. Knowledge must be in the same field, in the specific area. And ability, I must have ability, like physically I must be have enough strength and I must be enough strong to do the job. That is ability. Training, I must have training to perform the same job, and then I must have experience to do the same job previously. I must have done the same project, same job, same work before that. Then I can be competent for that task. Okay guys, this is competent is also important here. Apart from the employees, who else must the employer protect? Yeah, other than the employees, who have to protect by the employer? The employer have responsibility to protect the surroundings, to protect the environment, to protect the visitors, to protect the peoples around the workplace. Like if you are working in a urban area, maybe there are the other peoples, maybe kids are coming and they fall down in your excavations, maybe they came and they touch your hazardous materials. So employers need to protect them. Visitors, contractors, neighbors, general publics, and there are other type of visitors also, that unwanted or uninvited. These are the trespassers, like people's coming to steal something, the thieves, like they are the uninvited guests. So need to protect them also. So members of public, we are and workers' responsibility. What is the workers' responsibility? This is also very important. And at this point, being a health and safety professional, you need to deliver it to your employees, the people working on your workplace, working on your project. You need to deliver it to them. They need to understand that they are also responsible. Mostly what we have seen or what we have observed, that employees are not taking care about the work. The employees, they are not taking care what they are doing. They are thinking that only organization or only the supervisor or only the line manager is the one who is responsible for that task. But actually no. In Article 19 of Convention C155 also places obligations on workers, expanded in Recommendation 164 as follows. There are also a set of duties, but still the most part of the responsibilities is on the employer. And so here we are talking about take reasonable care of their and their own and safety of the others. and comply with safety instructions and procedures, use all safety equipments properly, report any incident, accident, any unsafe situation, any hazard to the employees, report any work-related accident or ill health. These are the responsibilities of the worker. They are responsible. And there are some rights. They have the right that they must get adequate training about the task. They must get adequate supervision. They must get required personal protective equipment, and they must have access to all basic welfare facilities. These are the rights. And then we are talking about enforcement agencies. No harmonized global standard. Country-specific agencies may include HNS enforcement agency, fire authority like civil defense in Pakistan. Also, we have civil defense in UAE, in Saudi Arabia, I believe also, and the insurance companies. These are also a part of the enforcement agencies. They have the right to visit your workplace anytime. They have the right to inspect your workplace. They have the right to give fine to the organization who is not following or who is not following the health and safety standards. And the consequences of non-compliance, what will happen, improvement of, so there are two types of letters or instructions which we are receiving from authorities. One is improvement, like they can give us some comments for the improvement that you are doing a job well, you are doing an average job, you are on a standard, but these are the points. If you adopt, the workplace will be more safe. That's improvement. And then we can see the prohibition. They can stop our work. You are not allowed to enter the workplace from tomorrow because you are not following the health and safety standards. If there is a big non-compliance, they have the right to shut down all the work. And in that case, we are facing the cost, which is an indirect cost also. Morale of the employees, the production, the time, and the compensation payment, the fine for not completing the project on time. These all we are going to face in case of the second option. Okay, then organization may be fined. Organization can be fined. They can give fine, and they can give fine to persons, individuals. They can send them to jail also if there is a major non-compliance found, which is leading to the fatality or which is leading to the big health and safety incidents or to a big fire accidents as per the nature of the work. Okay, claim for compensation. Worker bring claim against employer. Civil legal system must prove employer was negligent and therefore to blame for injury, ill health. Yeah, employees have to prove that this is the employee or even the authority. They need to ensure that this is the negligence of the organization or of the employer. That's why this accident happened, and then they will get any type of fine and claim and compensation. And a claim for compensation, no fault system, national or regional schemes, no need to prove negligence, decided by the panel of the experts. Okay, this is the compensation. Like there is a system, if no fault, if they will not go to find any fault, like who is faulty and who is not, but a set standard or a board of the directors or the committee members who is being known as HSE committee or the senior management, they can decide that this compensation will be given to these countries. And these laws are different in different countries. See, this is happened in New Zealand and Sweden. There is some other system in the UK and USA, some other in the UAE and Saudi Arabia. There is a little bit different standard. This is not much important as an exam point, but you need to go through by this. Okay, here we have a group activity. Discuss the criminal and civil law implication. A technician escaped injury by diving under a bench when a vessel blows up as a result of a design defect. There is a design defect and a technician, he got injury. A 12-year-old boy break his arm falling into a pit. A kid who was playing around and there was a work going on. The exhibition was not protected. He fell down and his arm got injured. That is a case which we discussed, that the visitors and the members of public, we need to save them. This is the responsibility of the employer before leaving the site, before leaving the workplace. It's their responsibility to ensure that everything is safe. And a machine operator is blinded in one eye by a colleague trying to help him removing a jammed machinery part. Yeah, there is a machinery part jam. There is a jam or something happened to a machine, and an incompetent worker by his own way. He just go and he try to help the operator. In that maybe he hit something and some particles of the steel go into the eye and the operator lost his eye. This is a type, this is a behavior mistake also. And what will happen? It will go in a big case, accident investigation, and the need to pay the compensation to the employee. And also there can be a fine on the employee who go through by unauthorized means. Like he is not authorized, he is not technician, he is not a person authorized to do the mechanical work, but he go to help him by his own means, and in that case he let him suffer. Okay, a scaffolder is electrolyted when the pole he is carrying focus a live overhead cable. Yeah, one scaffolder, he is erecting the scaffolding and he was carrying a pole, a steel tube or a pipe, and he had the overhead power cables and electric shock. What will happen? Electric shock will send him throw out. He will throw him out, throw him away, and multiple injuries can be happen. This needs a careful approach. Knowledge of British, European, American law should be used, but the compensation culture differs considerably from state to state, particularly in developing countries where it may hardly exist. Like in Pakistan, the compensation culture is very less. Even there is a total fault of employee, but the employees are not getting some good things. Mostly they are getting, okay, hospital treatment will be provided to you. This is the standard, and this differs by country by country. And other international standards, ISO, as Mr. Zahir mentioned, Quality Management System 9001, 14001, and 12,100 safety of machinery, and we have 18,001. We have different standards for ISO which are being implemented on the workplace, and other OSAS 18,001 we already discussed. Source of information, internal and external. Internal are in the organization. What are the internal and external? Internal, okay, accident record is the internal record which they are maintaining, like how many accidents happened, what is the type, what are the trends, and then the medical records, risk assessments, maintenance, safety inspections. External is the national legislation and safety data sheets, codes of practices, COPs, and guidance notes, operating instructions, trade association. Actually, these all are the source of information which are being carried out in an organization, and an enforcement agency or the employer or the client or the municipality or the international organization, they can come and they can ask any from them. They can ask us, okay, show us the induction training. How many employees? 500. Where is the record for 500 employees? Like you have given them an adequate induction training. So employees are working in confined space. Where is the confined space training certificates, cards, etc., etc. These are the two types of information which is being available on the projects. And organization or employer is responsible. Okay, then source of organization, these are some sources. You already get these websites in the slide. You can go through these slides, you can study anything you want. And what is the main standard of, what is two main standards of the ILO has passed for health and safety? What do countries do with these standards? What are those? One is, okay, C155 or 164. C155 convention, R164 recommendation 164. To what employs responsibility under R164? To provide workplace and work equipment safe and use work methods. All these are the responsibilities of the employee. We have already discussed, guys, this one in detail. So I am expecting you to go through by this one. And this is the end of session. You can open your mic now. Okay. Yes, guys, is it okay with you?
Yes, sir.
Anyone have any question? Again, the 40 minutes are going to expire.
Yes, sir.
If I have questions, I will start the session again.
सर ये ILO जोन सा है, ये हर कंट्री में लागू होता है?
Yes.
या हर कंट्री का अलग अलग ILO या
not on all countries who are a member of ILO. There are still some countries, they are not member of the International Labour Organization. Then the standard is not being implemented on them.